sun. Hi, it's Susan Short with FBTV, and have we got a super special episode for you today? We have Ronnie Platt, lead singer of none other than the band Kansas, Dust in the Wind. They're going to be at the Van Wezel in January here in Sarasota. Don't forget to get your tickets because it's going to be an amazing show. Thank you so much for being with us, Ronnie.
Susan, what a pleasure. And I think we're having a competition here who has the coolest background,
Yes, I've got the Stones here, but I think yours is better. You have got, that's quite the collection of guitars. Now, is that like a special collection or do you take that on the road with you?
Oh my God, these never leave the house. It's
Okay.
funny. Everyone's more than welcome to beat on my pianos, but don't touch my guitars.
I understand that because I know that, certain things have very big value, and that's like your crown jewels, correct?
Right, right.
Yeah.
My quest is to fill the room enough that I could no longer move in it.
Well, that's something to aspire to.
Right.
Absolutely. So tell us what's going on with Kansas. You guys, I think you just finished a tour with Jefferson Starship, Outlaws, Dave Mason, and Eli Young. Did you do that over the summer? That must have been amazing.
And our good friends 38 Special. And
Okay.
it has just been a crazy, crazy summer, just doing these shows with everyone. Ironically, Kathy Richardson, who sings with the Jefferson Starship, she's a neighbor of mine. She lives one town over. We played a lot of the same clubs in Chicago, cutting our teeth in Chicago. So it was so much fun doing shows with them. And it was just a music packed nonstop summer. It's continued into the fall, and Kansas is looking at a crazy next year, 2026. We're hitting it hard, especially with the addition of new guitar player, Mr. Scott Bernard, who was
Okay.
Kenny Loggins' guitar player for 18 years.
Nice.
You're no slouch if you're playing with Kenny for 18 years, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Very high standards.
we're booking hard, and we are going to be everywhere next year, outside of beautiful Sarasota, Florida.
Of course, the crown jewel, beautiful.
Of
Yes.
course.
Yes, absolutely. So, how many shows are you doing? How many dates are you doing? I took a look on the website, but the font was so small. It looked like it had to be how many?
Right, real small font to fit them all in. Funny story. When
Uh-huh.
I first met with Phil and Rich, they told me back in 2014 when I joined the band, they told me that the band was looking at 45 to 60 dates a year.
Uh-huh.
I've never done that much. My first full year in Kansas, we did 98 shows,
Wow.
went right into the studio, recorded the Prelude Implicit, spent 6 weeks in Atlanta recording that, went right back out in 16, did 99 shows that year,
Wow.
besides recording an album. And outside of COVID, the little break we had for COVID, which seems like a distant memory now,
Yeah.
we've been hitting it hard. And I think we're somewhere in the 80 count of shows this year. And I would not be surprised if we break 100 in 2026.
Well, congratulations. That's
Thank
really a
you.
testament. They say, I go to NAMM a lot and they say things about rock and roll and blah blah blah, but I think that the touring aspect is really going strong right now. I think they just crave the live music experience.
It seems that way to me because just in the time that I've been in the band, not only have we been playing bigger and bigger venues, but more people are coming out, and for Kansas, a band that's been around more than 50 years now,
Yeah.
it's so refreshing for me to see not only the original fans, but the sons and daughters of the original fans, and dare I say the grandchildren of the where's my bottle of Geritol? I know it's somewhere around here. Give me my vitamins. So, but really, I think it's going strong because we've been doing these shows and the people, they're just so excited and so into the shows. Uh, I don't see anything lax in my eyes.
That's great. So, what can people experience? What can they expect at a Kansas show? Tell us what, I mean, I don't want you to give it all away. I know they're going to hear the hits, but how many
True.
people do you have on stage? You have a big, you have violins, correct? You've got the whole
Uh,
setup.
we have 7 members now,
Okay.
and I'll try to be brief, but it's so hard for me not to gloat about
Please do. Please
my
gloat.
band members, because I really think that Kansas is like the all-star team of musicians, because on guitar, who was the major writing contributor of the last 2 albums, produced and engineered the last 2 studio albums and the live albums, and is just a smoking guitar shredder, Mr. Zach Risby, whose talent is off the charts. Worked with Jeff Glicksman on earlier Kansas stuff, just a smoking player. We have him on guitar. We have Joe Denenzone on violin, who's known around the world, who teaches violin around the world, an amazing player, and will just mesmerize you with his stage presence, and just a smoking player. Dan McGowan on bass guitar, who not only is killing it on bass, but has the voice of an angel, just
Wow.
absolutely smoking. Uh, Only someone who I've known since he was 5 years old, Eric Holmquist, who was Phil Ehard's drum tech for 20 years. He seamlessly moved into the drum duties of Kansas and is killing it.
Great.
Of course, we have the new member Scott Bernard, who I just told you about,
Yeah,
Kenny
Kenny
Loggins,
Loggins.
guitar player. But here's the guy with the golden resume, and that's Tom Brislin.
Uh-huh.
He was Meatloaf's keyboard player. He was
Okay.
Debbie Harry's keyboard player.
Wow.
He toured with Yes.
Wow.
If you're playing Yes music, you got to be ripping,
Yeah,
and
absolutely, on the
just
keyboard.
amazing players. And I always said that the Kansas fan is the intense listener, because it's music that's so layered and so in depth. And I think people already come to our show with a high expectation,
Yeah.
and I'd like to say that they leave with us meeting that expectation.
Well, that's great. That I'm so excited now. With that description, I can't wait for the date to come.
Me neither.
Absolutely. So, I have a couple of other questions. One thing is, that type of music that uses strings and things like that, performed, that type of layered rock was very popular in that era, right? In the 70s and 80s. And then it went into more grunge, more basic,
Yeah,
Blue Note. So why do you think it was very popular in that era, and why it's named after Kansas, the state Kansas, because they were all originally from Kansas, correct?
right. Very organic name that
Yeah.
everyone, I think everyone was from Kansas except Steve. Steve was from St. Joe, Missouri, which
Okay,
is
which is
right on the
next door.
Kansas state line.
Yeah, right.
Across the street, you're in Kansas, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Uh, but I think music from the 60s and 70s, especially the 70s, when the progressive thing really took root, because you had, Kansas, who seemed to me like the only really American progressive rock band. But you had Yes, and you had Genesis, and then
How
Rush
about
came.
Jethro Tull? I was thinking of Jethro Tull.
Oh my
Yeah,
God, you mentioned Jethro Tull, very progressive,
yeah,
and that, but things go in cycles,
right,
and with different generations have like their genre of music,
right.
and that progressive thing was really big in the 70s. Then disco came into the
Yeah,
highlight, and then you had the hair bands in the 80s, and then the
right,
grunge,
right.
and things, but things are uh, uh, secular,
Yes,
they always come back around. And there's something about the organic uh, element of the bands from the 70s. They weren't put together by
AI.
record companies or yeah, by today's
AI.
AI,
Yeah.
so it's funny how things have come back around. And really, since I've been in the band the last 10 years, like I said, I've just seen audiences get bigger and bigger. And it's so nice for me to see teenagers in the audience, and they're not just sitting there going, gee, when are they going to play Wayward Son?
Yeah.
They're,
Yeah.
they're actually getting into the whole
Genre.
show, the
Mhm.
whole progressive, lineup of songs. It's restored my faith in the youth of America. So,
Well, you
so
guys are all incredible musicians. So
yes, thank you.
anybody of any age, young or old that really appreciates great music will appreciate your show because it's
Yes.
not, that's hard to come by, it
Yeah.
really is.
It's something that I've always said too. It's even if you're not that familiar with Kansas music, to still come and see this band, because you're going to see musicianship in a show that's really off the charts.
Yeah.
And the few times that I've been able to like sneak into the lobby, after a show or something, put the hair in a ponytail, put a cap
Uh-huh.
on, like
Uh-huh.
going incognito. I think one of the biggest compliments I've ever heard was overhearing someone say, wow, I wasn't expecting it to be that good.
Yeah.
That to me, that's the ultimate compliment, because I know those people already came to our show with a high expectation. So
Yeah.
how good can it get?
It doesn't get better than that. Absolutely. So I have another question for you. Can you tell us, and I know people want to hear this, and this is a fun question. It's not
Okay.
like, I'm
Only
not
on the third Tuesday of odd number months during a leap year. Is that the right answer?
What's the funniest thing? Because you guys tour a lot, so everybody has to get along. And tell us like a funny moment. It could be nothing to do with
Oh,
music. It can just be like a food moment, or do you guys all eat together? Or tell us something funny. Because I've interviewed different people, and they always have something. I mean, I've heard like throwing TVs out the window back in the day before social media. I'm sure you guys don't do
that
that,
was the Who.
but
The funniest thing, and ironically, we happen to be playing with them tomorrow night, Blue Oyster Cult.
okay.
I was
Some
new
of
to
them
the
live here. Go ahead. I think
they
somebody from Blue Earth, they live here in Sarasota or
oh,
somebody
very,
does.
very possible. I don't know
Yeah.
which one.
Yeah.
I know Donnie lives by me, one of the guys in Blue Oyster Cult. But anyway,
Anyway.
I was new to the band, and
Uh-huh.
of course, they're looking of maybe doing a little hazing on
Uh-huh.
me. And of course, I knew their music.
Uh-huh.
Growing up in the era that I did, of course, I knew Blue Oyster Cult.
Uh-huh.
But regretfully, I had never seen them live. So I
Okay.
didn't know what they look like.
Right.
So, Kansas, we're doing our meet and greet, and there's like 80 people in meet and greet. And this was before COVID, when
Uh-huh.
we would all sit at a table, and,
Right.
people would bring
Merch.
their album or their guitar, their t-shirt, and we would sign it for them. So here, uh, Eric and Buck had snuck into our meet and greet line that,
Mhm.
from Blue Oyster Cult.
Uh-huh.
And, uh, Buck comes up to me. He hops up on the table with his derriere uh, right in front of me, and he goes, "Will you sign my butt?" And everyone's in on the joke but me, right? So there's like that momentary silence, waiting to see my reaction. You know, so I'm like, no. And everyone just started busting out laughing. They set me up. And so that was just funny. And so, nice,
That's a great one.
nice
That's
of them
awesome.
to be a part of my hazing. I'm going to get it. I got to get them back somehow.
Absolutely. That's hilarious. That really is. That's very
It was
funny.
pretty funny. It was pretty
That's really
funny.
funny. Well, at least you didn't do it because imagine if you did it,
No,
right? Yeah.
no.
Oh, that's great. That's great. So What is your schedule like? Are you touring in November, December through the holidays? Do you get any kind of break?
Yes, we're touring now. We are
Uh-huh.
going to take Thanksgiving off,
Okay.
much to the enjoyment of our families.
Good.
But we're going out the first like 2.5 weeks of December,
Okay.
actually starting in California and going through uh, Arizona. We're playing Vegas, Albuquerque, New Mexico, Texas, and then we end, ironically, in Florida
Okay.
in December. Then, of course, we're taking Christmas and New Year's off and getting a nice 3-week break, but
Okay.
right back into it the second week of January and hitting it hard. And like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if we break that 100 mark of shows for next year.
Now, do you
So
just tour in the US or do you go to Europe or South America?
uh touchy subject with me, Europe. Uh
Oops.
3 times we were
Uh-huh.
booked in Europe, and 3 times we had to cancel. Of course, once because of
COVID.
COVID,
Yeah.
and it was just circumstances at the time. I have yet to play Europe with Kansas, so
Wow.
that's something I really hope we do in the future. But right now, we're slammed with dates in the U.S. We're playing a lot of dates in Canada. We're playing in Mexico City.
Right.
Uh, so it's like I'm in this hemisphere. I'm in the Western hemisphere because, I have done dates in Brazil and Chile, which was mind blowing.
Yeah.
Playing Rio de Janeiro. How cool is that?
That's fabulous. And they love, I'm just thinking because South Americans really love rock and roll, and same thing with
They
Europe.
do.
Yeah,
They
like
do.
all the festivals in the summer, they just love
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
I look at the Iron Maiden when they play Brazil.
Yeah.
200,000 people show up. That's crazy.
It's crazy. It's crazy. Absolutely.
So, but
Absolutely.
again, a packed schedule, and I think it would be, excuse me, I think it would be easier to add up the places we're not going to be
Yeah.
next year. So,
That's awesome.
so looking
So
forward to that.
what's next for Kansas? You guys just did you cut an album recently? Are you working on some new music? Will we hear it at the show?
The last album that Kansas released was Another Fork in the Road. It was a compilation of 50 years of Kansas.
Uh-huh.
And then since I've been in the band, Prelude Implicit and Absent of Presence, the 2 studio albums that just did absolutely fantastic. And we also put out 2 other live albums, Left Overture Live and Beyond, Point of No Return Live and Beyond. So it's that's a full menu right there, but nothing, there's no doors closed on what Kansas has in the future, whether it's another studio album in the works in the future, especially now with a new lineup. It's just
Yeah.
fantastic. And that's where the kudos really go to Rich and Phil, because uh, they always said that even after they're gone, they want that flavor of Kansas, that Kansas music, to not only continue playing, that library of music from the very beginning of Kansas, but for that Kansas name to keep producing that progressive rock, that type of music that Kansas is known for indefinitely. So, and
Right.
they set things up for it to happen that way. So it's pretty amazing.
So do you see a residency in Vegas in
Oh
your
my God, would
future?
love to do that. Love to do that. So hasn't
Just
come
putting it
across
out
the books
there.
yet.
Oh,
Hasn't
yeah.
come across the books yet, but
Yeah.
would love to do that.
Well, thank you so much for talking to us. I really appreciate it, Ronnie. I don't want to take up too much more of your time. Come see Kansas at the Van Wezel in January. Follow them on Facebook, Instagram. Go to kansas.com for everything Kansas. Stream their music on Spotify or wherever you listen to music. It's Susan Short with Family Beautiful TV, FBTV, and we'll see you next time.